This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, welcome to AWS training program, and today's topic is CICD and Git. So CICD and Git are not actually AWS services. These are like you can say concepts, and these can be achieved with the help of AWS, or even it can be achieved with other cloud services like AWS, sorry, Google Cloud Platform, GCP, or even Microsoft Azure. And apart from that, there are many more third-party tools which can help you to achieve CI/CD functionality and the Git functionality. Okay, so let's start the class with the agenda. The agenda for today's class is overview of CI/CD. CI stands for continuous integration, and CD stands for continuous deployment. There are many CI/CD tools available in the market which we can use as per our requirement and convenience. After that, we'll talk about overview of Git, and we'll talk about Git concepts and Git commands as well. Okay, so now what we will do is we will be starting with the overview. So CI/CD stands for continuous integration and continuous deployment. As the name indicates, right? If you keep on developing your code, you need to integrate that. Integrate in the sense like there's a working code and you are making some change, making some enhancement. You may be developing some new features, right? As soon as you are done with your coding, your code change should be integrated with the main running code. And once that is integrated, once we are sure that there is no syntax error, there is no other issue, we are ready for deployment. That updated change, right, that should be deployed. So prior to this, right, prior to CI/CD, the releases were very like a tedious task. And I remember when I started my career in IT, we used to have like one release in one quarter, because release itself is a very cumbersome and you can say time consuming process. But with the help of CI/CD, you can have more frequent releases. That means last Friday you had a release, and this week you have made some minor enhancement, or might have fixed any bug, and you want to release that. So you don't need to wait for 3 months. And now with CI/CD, that release is not that tedious process. Everything can be integrated and automated end to end. That means even a small change can be quickly released into the production. Okay, so you can see this one using CI, that is continuous integration. We can make incremental code changes frequently and reliably. You can trust that this code will be properly tested and verified before deploying into production, and you can have more frequent releases. Build and test step triggered by CI ensure that code changes merged into the repo are reliable. That's very important step, because suppose your code till last Friday, which was deployed on the last Friday, is working perfectly fine. Now this week we worked on one small change. If we blindly try to release that change, and that may affect our previous version also if something is wrong, right? So whatever small change you are deploying or you are planning to deploy, that should be tested and verified, and that's also part of your CI/CD process. Okay, the code is then delivered quickly and seamlessly as part of the CD process. Once your code is integrated and tested, it's ready for the deployment. So CI, continuous integration, will take care of integration and testing, and CD part, continuous deployment, will take care of deploying that change into the into your environment. Okay, now you may like think like this is very heavy words, heavy term like continuous integration, continuous deployment, but we'll be talking more about these things. And in upcoming days, this week mainly, we'll be talking about all these things practically. So you will get more idea on that. Okay, let's see the next slide. CICD lifestyle, sorry, life cycle. So we start with, like I would say, we start with plan. You plan that, okay, I need this feature in my project. Then you will start coding for that. You will write your code as per your preferred programming language: C, C++, Java, Node.js, Python, R, right? Once your code is written, you need to build the code. Build means your code needs to be converted into a deployable format, because the code you are writing is a plain text, is a plain Java code or plain Python code that needs to be built, or you can say converted into a format which can be deployed. And then testing is also required, because without testing we cannot release. We will test like whatever features we are expecting, are they working as expected? If that is the case, we'll release it. Release in the sense like we are marking that code is ready for deployment, and then the code will be deployed into your AWS or GCP or Microsoft Azure. It's up to your requirement. Once deployed, it will be operational. That means your end user, or your, suppose it's a company internal tool, people will start using it. Then we will monitor for some time, for few days, like is it working fine, does it need more enhancement, does it need more features, do we need to revert something? That thing we will monitor. And after that we will come up with again a new plan. We'll say that okay, this release was successful, we successfully released few features, now the next plan is add few more features. So this way, as you notice, like whether it's Facebook or any mobile app or net banking app, they keep on releasing newer version every few months, right? Because they keep on working on further enhancements. So this is a complete circle, you can say. This keep on, it's a ongoing process. You will plan something, then write the code, build it, test it, release it, deploy it, monitor for few days, few months, and then again come up with a uh, enhancement plan, or maybe fixing some bugs, or altogether coming up with a new feature or existing features enhancement. That is a continuous process. Okay, the left side part, mainly your coding, building, testing. This is CE, that is continuous integration. And deploying, operating, monitoring, this part is mainly your CD part, continuous deployment. Okay, so before we move to the next slide, I am taking a break here for 2 minutes. In case you're having any doubt till this slide, you can ask me. Okay, seems like there is no doubt. So let's move to the next slide. Now let's try to understand in more deeper way. On the previous slide, we were simply talking about few terms like code, build, test. Now let's try to understand. We write the code in a text format. Any programming language you choose, whether C, C++, Java, Node.js, Python, you will be writing the code in a text format. And then you will commit that code, committing into some repository. What is a repository, what is Git, that we will be talking about in upcoming slide. But just to tell you that suppose multiple team members are there and everyone is working from a different geographical location, so where should we maintain our code? Maintaining the code on individual system is not safe, it's not a good idea, because by any chance, suppose the developer lost his or her laptop, or suppose the laptop gets stolen or hard disk crashed, something, right? In that case, you will be losing your entire code. So what we do is we have a centralized server. There we maintain our code. Every team member, they can pull and push the code to the repository. In the morning, what we usually do is we pull the code, so that anyone who has committed the code, committed means like they have pushed the code from their local machine to the server, right? So we pull the code so that we have up to date code from everyone else. My code will be on my system, that is fine, but from other team members, I want to pull their up to date code. And by end of the day, when I am done with my code changes, I will commit my code into the Git repository. Okay, so once you commit your code, there's a build process will start, converting your code into a deployable format. Unit test, as per whatever unit test we have written, those will be running. And integration test also. Unit test is about a particular feature, how that feature is working. And integration tests are like how this feature behaves with other features. Because if you are enhancing one feature, should not impact other features. Because suppose you are adding one feature and you are your newly added feature is affecting five more existing feature, that's not good. So we need to perform unit testing. At the same time, we need to perform integration test as well. And once everything is done, once every test is passing, it's time to review the code. Someone from your team, maybe your team lead, manager, architect, some senior guy, they will review the code from a best practice point of view. Are you following the best practices or not? Are you putting some secure stuff in the code, like putting username, password, something like that, right? Based upon few criteria, they will be reviewing your code. Then you will deploy your code in staging. We have three environments: dev, stage, production. Dev is for development. Staging is almost equivalent to production, but not actually production. It's equivalent to production. So when you are deploying into stage, and in case you are getting any challenge, that means you will get the exactly same challenge in the production also. So it is giving you the opportunity to test your code to the equivalent environment, so that you can detect your challenges on time and you can fix those things, so that when you are deploying finally into the production, it should be a smooth release. It should be a smooth deployment without any issues. This is the complete process which happens from writing the code and finally deploying into production. Okay, let's move to the next slide. This is a slide which will give you the idea, like for different type of phase, there are different tools available in the market. And those are not only AWS, those are like third party and uh, open sources as well. Let's start with code. For code, you have